So, Captain Brady, what got you started fishing?
Oh, I got started fishing years ago with my grandfather. I've lived here my whole life. I'm a Florida native and used to fish with my grandfather every weekend, and it's just carried on from there. Turned into being a 20-year veteran full-time guide here.
I see you're wearing a redfish tournament shirt. Where'd you get that? What's going on with that?
Yeah. I fished the IFA Redfish Tour along with some Bassmaster and FLW events. Been doing that for about 10 years now. Done quite well for myself. We've led the west coast of Florida 3 years in a row in the Redfish Tour, and had a blast doing it.
Don't you have some sort of record with the redfish tournament?
Yeah, we led the west coast of Florida 3 years in a row in points, which I don't believe any other team has led 3 years in a row in points. So
awesome.
My little claim to fame.
So what made you invent the Overboard Pro automatic dehooker?
Being a full-time guide here in Florida, you run into all kinds of fish. Some are friendly, some aren't friendly, some are good eating, some aren't good eating. It's not uncommon in a day to catch 15 to 20 different species of fish. And you're busy in the boat with 4 or 5 people, sometimes fishing at a time, and you catch a hardhead catfish, which is devastating when it pokes you. And I was trying to figure out a way to get these fish off the hook quicker and less harmful to clients and myself in the boat. And I started playing around with ideas, and I've come up with the boat mountable fish dehooker.
What are some of your stories where you haven't had the dehooker available?
I've had days on the boat with clients that bad things happen, whether it's somebody pulls an unwanted fish in the boat and gets poked by a catfish, or gets bit by a mackerel, or the fish will be flopping on the floor. By the time I can get to it, it's detrimental to the fish's health. It's very bad for the fish's health to flop on the floor, and the hook can come out and stick somebody in the foot. I've had mackerel slide into somebody's toe and bite them. So this thing I've designed, it's to keep unwanted fish out of the boat and away from the clients and yourself. Better for the fish, better for the clients, better for yourself.
When you have it mounted on the side of the boat, it's primarily to get rid of the bad fish.
Yes, we have it deployed over the side of the boat, and obviously there's fish that your clients are going to want to take pictures of. They're going to want a picture of this nice snook they caught. But once they get a picture of a few good snook, all the smaller ones, it's much better for the fish to just drag your line across this tool, and your hook hits it, they fall back in the water. They're unharmed, you're unharmed. You've already got pictures of bigger fish that day.
So what makes this better than a handheld dehooking device?
My belief on the reason why this would be better than a handheld device is you never have to go looking for it. It's always on the same spot on your boat. It only takes one hand to use it as opposed to 2. Typically you would have to hold the fish and either take the hook out with a pair of pliers, or there's some with a round end on it. You can grab your line with one hand and pull the fish up like this and shake it off, which sometimes that fish will fall back on your hand and poke you. I've seen it happen. So it's just easier to use. Sometimes you don't even have to touch your line. You can just pull your line down the side of the boat and through it, pull your rod tight, and the fish comes off by itself. You don't even touch your fishing line.
What kind of hooks does this work with?
Our product works with circle hooks, J hooks, any type of artificial bait hook that's a single hook, spoons, Johnson spoons it works great with. About the only thing it doesn't work consistently with is a lure with treble hooks. Most of those times you're going to grab that fish anyhow and take that fish off gently because you don't want to ruin your lure. But all the standard single hook lures and single hooks on the market these days, they all work great with it.
How about a gut hook?
It does not work well with gut hooked fish. As most fish dehookers, if you get a gut hooked fish, all your fish dehookers go out the window. When you get a fish that's hooked in the throat, you're either going to wind up with a pair of these right here, or what you can do with our tool is you just pull the fish up tight on it, then he's under control, so he's not going to hurt anybody or himself anymore. And then you just reach down there as close as you can get with a pair of scissors. You snip the line at the end of his lip, and that hook will dissolve in a week or 2.
You mentioned that you don't have to touch a fish, so do you feel this device is good for conservation?
This device is going to be excellent for conservation, I promise you. We got speckled trout here in Florida, and they have this vital slime coat on them. I've seen trout die from human handprints on their back, which in the summertime will let them get a bacterial infection, and they'll actually swell up and die from just a handprint. Your average angler that catches a fish, by the time they get that fish under control and the hook out of him, they've either dropped him on the floor once or twice, grabbed him 3 or 4 different places on his body, and that just really hurts the fish. And these days we need to be more conservation minded for our kids and for other people in the future that have fish that they want to catch in the years to come.
How quickly can I get a fish off the hook and rebait my hook?
When you're fishing with this thing, if you're in, sometimes you're in those fishing situations where fish are just, as soon as you can get your bait in the water, you're going to catch another fish. And this is just so helpful with that. You can be standing on the front deck, bait your hook, throw out, hook a fish. We were hooking snook yesterday, and in 25 seconds we were getting them to the boat, pulling our line through the fish dehooker, unhooking him, and having a bait back on our line in the water in 25 seconds.
So you'd mentioned some benefits over a handheld dehooker, but what are some of the other benefits that this might have?
One of the main benefits is it's just going to keep the blood and the fish poo and the slime out of your boat and off your clothing. Our product is made of 3/16 stainless steel, which is going to be fairly sterile. I mean, fish aren't going to get any bacterial effect off that stainless steel fish dehooker. These are some of your other typical fish dehookers that are on the market. This is your typical pair of hemostats that after 2 or 3 months, that's pretty much what they look like. And quite frankly, you're lucky if they even open when you go to use them. Here's another typical fish dehooker. This is the only one that I actually use once in a while, besides the Overboard dehooker, simply to extract them from their throat if I think I can get a hold of it. And this is your typical pair of pliers that people use on the boat. Obviously they rust in a couple of days and they're pretty much worthless after about a week or 2. And there's a few other handheld dehookers that you can grab your line with, and you pull the fish up and your hand down, but then a lot of times when that fish comes off, what I found is that fish will fall and hit you in your other hand and poke you. So pretty much our style fish dehooker keeps the boat between you and the fish. All those problems go away. And I can tell you right now, I'm a full-time charter captain. I run 250 fishing trips a year, release thousands and thousands of fish every year on my boat. And typically by this time of the year, I got 13 Band-Aids on 10 fingers. And right now I got none. So I can just tell you, every charter captain out there, everybody out there is going to love this product.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.